Sunnahfollowers, protectors of the Sunnah. Sunnahfollowers, protectors of the Sunnah.
Alhamdulillah, wassalamu wa rasulallah. Welcome to another session of our class entitled Signs of the Last Hour. And this is the class in which we interact together as we review what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us are signs of the last hour. And then we ponder as to whether those signs are happening today. And if they are happening today, what should we do? So this is an interactive class, and alhamdulillah, so far the feedback I have gotten on these interactive classes has been very positive. And today, the signs of the last hour are very, very troubling. And what I'm going to do is read the hadith about the signs that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam predicted for us. After I finish reading the hadith, I want everyone to take the mic, take the video camera. I'm going to ask everyone, do you believe these signs are happening today? And then give me instances or proofs that it may be happening today, and then what you think we should do. So with that said, let's put the hadith on the screen. I did take the time before I went to sleep last night to write it up. Which one is this? That should better be here. Yeah, here it is. Okay, let me set it up on the screen so you guys can see. That's perfect. Okay, inshallah. And for those of you on Facebook, inshallah, let me log in with my cell phone on Facebook. Inshallah, you guys should be able to see this hadith as well. Let me log in so I can see whatever comments you guys may have too. There we are. Okay, this is the hadith. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to the companions one day and he said, "You may be afflicted by 5 things, and God forbid that you live to see these 5 things." Now here you can see this part is powerful right there alone, because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was telling the companions, if you are living to see these things, and that's something bad. So what are the 5 things? The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the first thing, if fornication becomes widespread, if you live to see that fornication is widespread, he said, then if you see that this is happening, you should realize that whenever this happens, that means Allah will bring about new diseases. New diseases. New diseases meaning diseases that never appeared before. And you can imagine how the companions were like, what? Then he said, also, if you should live to see this happening, also look for another sign, which is people cheating when it comes to money. If you live to see the people cheat when it comes to money, then realize that Allah will send drought and famine to the people. And also the rulers over the people will oppress them. Powerful. Think about that. Is that happening today? Are any of these things happening today? People cheating when it comes to money, drought, famine, rulers, leaders over the people oppressing them. Also, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if you live to see people not paying the zakat, realize that when this happens, the rain will be withheld by Allah. And the only time that he'll make it rain is out of his sympathy for the animals. If were it not for the animals, there would be no more rain. This is the result of if you live to see people not paying their zakat. And also he said, if you live to see the people break their trust with Allah and me, understand when this happens that Allah will send an enemy against the people that will take their property, their possessions by force. Ponder that, guys. What did the prophet mean when he said people breaking their trust with Allah and him? That means not fulfilling their obligations to Allah, not performing the prayer, not fasting during Ramadan, not wearing hijab, not growing the beard. And what is the trust with the prophet? That means living your life the way he taught us, following his example, praying the way the prophet taught us to pray, fasting, adhering to the rules that the prophet put in effect for us. If you live to see the people not do these things, understand that Allah will send an enemy against the people that will take their possessions by force. All because they don't fulfill their obligations to Allah and the prophet. And then finally, the prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if you live to see your leaders not ruling according to the Quran, understand if this happens, that Allah would make the people divide into groups and fight one another. So thus, these are 5 signs that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam warned the companions of. And you can imagine how shocked and terrified the companions were when they heard these things. Now, what I want you guys to do, ponder those 5 things. Tell me, are they happening now? And give me examples as to how they are happening now. Okay, does everybody understand that? Are these things happening now? These 5 afflictions, are they in existence today? Give me examples, because it's a wake-up call. If it is happening, what did the prophet say? God forbid that you live to see it. If they're happening, it's a horrific wake-up call. So now let's open it up here. Turn on your microphones, turn on your cameras, and let me set it up so you guys can use your cameras and stuff. Let's ponder this hadith, and let's start it. Who wants to start us off here? Brother Abdullah, you want to start us off?
No, thank you.
You want to sit and listen? Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Anissa, are these things happening?
Yes, they are. And I think I'll start at the bottom, because the bottom is really affecting the human race all over the earth when it comes down to the leaders not leading. And for example, here in America, for the last 4 years that we've had a very poor leader in our office, he has twisted and turned things around that was designed to be better for us carrying through the future. He's turned it around in such a way that we're almost going backwards, and now we have someone who's trying to undo some of those things he's done. But in the process of him doing that, we've got other leaders in other countries that have been actually our enemies forever. And he's got them in a position to where they can almost take over. They've been trying to take over. So that's what I want to say about that. So
And
that
which one is that? Which sign is that?
I guess I want to say the last sign, the rulers not leading properly.
But what's as a result of what? That occurs as a result.
As a result of the leadership that took place here in America over the past 4 years.
Okay, hold on.
And
Let me
it's
put
also brought out the worst in the other leaders who were already bad in other countries around the world.
okay. Does everybody see that? This is one of the signs. If the leaders are not governing according to the book of Allah,
Yeah.
then understand that's the one. If
Yeah.
the leaders do not govern according to the Quran, this is when Allah will cause the people to break into groups and
Yeah.
fight with one another. Okay,
Mhm.
what groups are breaking and fighting with one another?
Well, we have groups such as the different names. I don't want to really name them on the site because I don't want to put our site in jeopardy. But we can see that we have groups of people that have been laying low since slavery time. They've been laying low. And over the past 4 years, they've been given a green light to come out and do their thing. And that has caused the other group of people who were involved with slavery, who were enslaved, to also bring up their groups. So you've got two groups fighting each other. And then that one group that has been existing to stop all humanity from living correctly, they have been branching off into other groups. And we saw that with the attack of the attack that happened in DC. There were
Okay,
many groups involved in that
okay, that's
attack.
good.
And they're learning now more about these groups that have come across. And they're just human, normal men who have been scrounging and stirring up stuff for years undercover. And now they're coming out to light.
Okay, she's giving an example of a non-Muslim country.
Yes.
Okay, and what about it? Are there any Muslim? Remember the book of Allah, you know, being that America is not an Islamic country, they don't have to govern by the book of Allah. So would you think that this hadith is addressing the non-Muslims, or is it talking about us Muslim people? Let's look at that hadith again. Look at the hadith, guys.
Okay.
The hadith is, if the leaders do not govern according to the book of Allah. Well, understand, America is not a Muslim country, and Muslims are not, non-Muslims are not subjected to our laws. I think when the prophet was saying the leaders do not govern according to the book of Allah, he was speaking about Muslim countries. Are the Muslim countries governing by the book of Allah or not? And then when he said that if they're not,
I can add.
yes, go ahead, Brother Ahmad. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I mean, like for me, I see that imams do not teach according to Quran and Sunnah. Our imams do not teach to our according to Quran and Sunnah. I see even Muslims fighting with each other, debating with each other for small issue, like 8 rakats or 10, 20 rakats for small issues. They want to kill each other. I see in my country. And
Exactly.
their followers think it's okay to debate with each other. That's why I'm thinking. That's why I'm saying people are split into groups. They are not united with Islam.
Exactly. Now, Brother Ahmad lives in a Muslim country. He's in a Muslim country, Pakistan, and they're not ruling according to the Quran and the Sunnah. And as a result of them not ruling by the Quran, look at all the different sects that the people have divided into. Look at all the different groups we have, the Al-Qaeda, we have the Al-Shabaab, we have all these terrorist groups that have emerged in the Muslim countries that are causing problems for us all over the world. So as Brother Ahmad was saying, this hadith applies to that, to the Muslim countries. You have a lot of Muslim countries that are any of them governing by the book of Allah? Not just Pakistan. What about Saudi Arabia? What about Oman? What about Egypt? Look at what's going on in Egypt. Because the rulers are not ruling by the Quran and the Sunnah. Look at all the groups that are fighting. The people are killing each other in Egypt. Look at what's going on in Yemen. And because they're not governing by the Quran and the Sunnah, look at how the people have broken off into sets and groups, raping, killing. So, yeah, alhamdulillah, like Brother Ahmad said, this hadith is happening. You know, as a Muslim country, you are obligated to rule by the rules of Allah. Okay, so good job. So for that sign, let's put that sign back on the screen. That sign, which is the last sign, if the leaders do not govern according to the Quran, understand that when this happens, Allah will make them divide into groups and fight each other. This is already happening. Look at what happened. Another example with Iraq. When we had, when there was Saddam Hussein, he was the ruler of Iraq. Did he govern by the Quran? No, he did not. He declared war against his own Muslim brothers in Kuwait. This is what started the whole movement of that Al-Qaeda stuff. You know, whenever we deviate as a ruler away from ruling by Allah's laws, and why do you guys think that happens? Who can tell us why you think it happens that whenever we deviate away from ruling by the laws that Allah put in effect, that it causes the people to fight each other? Why is that? Why is the key Allah's laws? Who can answer that? What do you think about that, Sister Nisa? What did y'all think about that? Why is the key Allah's laws?
Yeah, Allah's laws is the law put in place for the human beings to do the right thing. And when we don't obey those laws, we're gone against Allah. And Allah allows us to go against things. In order for us to learn, we need to turn back to Allah to get back on the right track.
Exactly. Allah's laws are just. He knows what's best for his creation. And as a ruler of a Muslim land, you should be like Abu Bakr and Umar. Those were the laws that Allah put. They were more just than any man-made laws. And that's what happened when you have leaders like Saddam Hussein who had deviated away from Allah's laws to their own. Look at what happened in Afghanistan, the same thing. The leaders deviate away from ruling by the Quran into making their own laws. The same with Iran and other Muslim countries. It's happening over there in Saudi right now. Deviating away from Allah's laws to your personal stuff. And whenever we deviate away from Allah to take our personal stuff, it's always going to be chaos. Good job. What about these other signs? You guys did a good job on that one. What about this one? What about the sign of if the people should break their trust with Allah and his prophet? Has that sign happened? And if so, give me an examples. If the people break their trust with Allah and his prophet, understand that Allah will send an enemy against them to take their possessions by force. Is that happening today?
To me, yes.
Good
Yes.
job, brother.
People around me are doing it.
Okay, Brother Abdullah says, yes, it is happening. Yes, it is happening. Okay, people break. Give me some examples. Can anyone give us some examples of how it's happening? If people break their trust with Allah and the Prophet, that means we fail to pray. We fail to fulfill our obligations to Allah and the Prophet. Allah will send enemies to take their possessions by force. Is this happening? Where has this happened? Or
well, if we look at the COVID right now as an enemy to us, which it is, I think we can clearly see that happening because so many people have lost their jobs and they can't pay their rent and they've gone into bankruptcies and they are behind in everything. They can't feed their children. They're begging for food, something that's not ever happened so much in this side. So yeah, and around the world, it's been happening for a long time. There's been hunger and famine in other places around the world in Muslim countries. That's been happening all along, but it's finally hit us. It hit our area of the world.
So people, yeah, people losing their possessions, people losing their land, possessions, and all as a result of not fulfilling their obligations. Sister Ibrahim, what do you think? Sister Ibrahim, what do you think? Where is this happening? Can you give us an example of this happening somewhere? People not, as a result of people not fulfilling the trust with Allah, not fulfilling the trust with the prophet, Allah will cause an enemy to take their possessions by force. Can anyone? What about you, Fame? What about you, Ricks, AY, Fresno, Carmetta, Elma, Fardosa, Murad, Precious? What do you guys think? Look at the hadith again. Let me put it up there. If people break their trust. Okay, well, we already talked about how Muslims are not praying.
Right.
You can go to Kuwait, a Muslim country such as Kuwait, and you see that about 60% of the women are not wearing hijab.
Mm-hmm.
Wearing hijab is an obligation. That's a trust between you and Allah. It's not a choice. Okay? You go to Bahrain. You go to Jordan, Oman. Even look here in America. Look here in the West. People not praying like they're supposed to, not fasting. And then look what's happening. Look what happened in Lebanon. The women were not wearing hijab. Liquor was going on and all of that. And what happened? Allah sent an enemy to take their land by force. You hear all these people talking about free Palestine, free Syria. Look at Syria. Look how many Muslims did not keep their trust. People weren't praying. People weren't fasting. People were not practicing. These are Muslim countries that people were not really practicing Islam. And then they wonder why the Jews took their land from them, why America came in and took their land from them. Well, here it is. Whenever we break our trust with Allah, whenever we fail to fulfill our obligations to Him and the Prophet, Allah will send your enemies to take your land by force. So don't blame it on America. This is what I tell Muslims. Don't blame it on America. Don't blame it on the Jews because you lost your land. Free this, free Palestine, free Syria, free this, free America, free yourself. It begins with you. Free yourself. And then Allah will cause your enemies to free you up. SubhanAllah.
Yes.
That's just a powerful, and this is what I say. I listen to a lot of people from Syria, a lot of people from Iraq and these countries talking about blaming America. No, what did you do? Saddam Hussein did a lot of crazy stuff and everybody know it. You didn't try to stop it. You guys allowed all this stuff to go on. You allowed your leaders to make laws that contradicted Islam, and then you wonder now why Allah calls your enemies to come and take your stuff.
It's like when people didn't they refused to wear like hijab and stuff, but now that coronavirus they're wearing masks. Like before they didn't want to wear stuff like covering their face. Now coronavirus is here, they have to cover their face.
Exactly. Brother Abdullah brought a good point out. Wearing hijab is an obligation. All the women around the world that refuse to adhere to the laws and wear hijab. Now look what's happened. You got coronavirus. You ain't got no choice but to wear hijab with pride now. And how many women love to wear their hijabs now to cover their faces? This is what happens when we don't fulfill the obligations of Allah and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Good job. Let's look at the next one. The Prophet said when people withhold zakat, and this is, by the way, this is another reason why I tell Muslims, don't get off into all that political stuff about how you hate people and all that. Exactly. We get all this hatred today. You hate Americans. You hate Jews. You hate yourself. You hate Black people. You hate white people. You hate Chinese people. All this hatred. Look at yourself. Everything that's happening in this world is happening for a reason. And Allah warned what he would do. He warned what he would do to the Muslims. He warned what would happen as a result of us, the last generation, us failing to fulfill our obligations. So it's easy to blame someone else, to blame America, blame the Jews. And when you see what's happening in these Muslim countries, how they lost everything, the blame is on them. That's why I tell y'all, I don't get off into that political stuff. You don't see Layla Nasheed involved in none of that free Palestine, free Israel, free Egypt, free your soul, free yourself. I don't get off of that because everything is because you brought it on yourself. Allah says whatever good happens to us comes as a result of the good things we did from him. And anything evil that happens to us comes from Allah too as a result of what we did. So blame yourself. You lost your land. You don't have a homeland. Because what did you do? And then when you read more about the signs, Allah tells you when you gonna get it back. You ain't gonna get it back until Allah says when. Okay? All right, so let's look at that other sign here. When people fail to pay the zakat, when people fail to pay the zakat, Allah will cause it to not rain. He would only, if it weren't for the animals, it wouldn't rain at all. Is this sign happening? Are we suffering with drought in different parts of the world? Is that happening? Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just
Exactly. Even
I've been in the country before also, and it hasn't rained in a long time.
exactly. Look how we have the farmers here in America lost part of their crop last year. And they thought it would never rain. Allah would make it rain just a little bit for those animals, and they'd go and without rain. This is because of what? We don't pay our zakat.
Yes.
People, and I'm gonna tell you something else. The zakat is supposed to go to the people in your city. Look how many people are sending zakat overseas. This is wrong. I've been preaching against this for years. The zakat is supposed to be for the Muslims in your community. You are not supposed to take your zakat and send it overseas. It's supposed to be there to help the needy Muslims where you live in your city, in your community. But since you sending it overseas and you're doing other things with it that you shouldn't do, that's why you ain't got no rain here. That's why it didn't rain in Georgia. That's why it didn't rain in the plains of California.
I'll say something.
Pay the zakat and give the zakat to the people who are deserving of it, and stop sending it to support terrorist groups, because that's where a lot of that zakat money is going. And stop sending it overseas. I mean, we got Muslims suffering all over the world, but believe you me, Syria gets a lot of foreign aid from the rich countries of the Gulf. They send millions of dollars to support the Syrians, millions of dollars to support Palestine too. That zakat is supposed to be for the Muslims right here where you live. Every time you keep sending it overseas, look at how people are suffering. Follow the laws of Allah. This also falls in that category of, again, rulers, leaders, ruling by other than the laws of Allah. Allah says that the zakat is for the needy Muslims in your community. If we would keep the zakat where it's supposed to be, we wouldn't have Muslims, suffering and struggling to live all over the world. There's a lot of Muslims right here in America that can't pay their rent. And they go to the mosque and say, hey, I got laid off because of the COVID. Can I get some? Oh, we sent our money to Syria. Subhanallah.
So does that go for
Sister Layla,
Yeah,
does that go for like Flint, Michigan? How bad the water is also?
that too. All of that. Exactly.
Sister
All of
Layla.
yes, babe.
When I went to the different country, it was like before everybody was Muslim. Well, everybody that I saw was Muslim. Then someone on their Facebook um said that don't believe these people, and then people became disbelievers. And the last time it rained was like some time ago, and then it never rained again because people stopped giving zakat.
See that? Subhanallah. Like he said, he went to the Muslim countries and saw that happen. Exactly.
So I had to move back.
Exactly. You we see on the news, a lot of Muslim countries go through a drought. Somalia, that's a Muslim country. Egypt, Algeria, Morocco. Subhanallah.
With the water real bad in Flint, Michigan, and how over here the imams send money all overseas and stuff and won't help the Muslims out here, and they can't even build their masjids up.
Exactly. Some of the largest Muslim communities are in Michigan, and then, like she said, and in Texas and stuff, and they wonder why they go through droughts and stuff, you know, because the zakat, or if the people are paying the zakat and they're not doing the right thing with it, you know, it's not there for the people. You send it or putting it elsewhere, you know, and that's why the water is messed up in Michigan. That's why the water, you know, we go through droughts here in America and stuff too. So yes, this sign is already happening. It's clear. Like I tell you guys, Allah says in the Quran, look around, ponder his creation. You don't have to get all politically charged into all this nonsense. Look at the blame is on you. Ponder the signs of Allah. Ponder his creation. And we can see that everything that is happening today, Allah said it would. Why? Because we have deviated away from fulfilling our obligations to him. We have, uh-huh. Yes.
It's like the thing that's really bad about the water is that Allah is merciful by giving you water, and he's also giving you the water to make dua for him. But if you're not going to make Allah happy, he's not going to make you happy at all.
Exactly. Exactly. Subhanallah, guys. If the kids can see this.
Because the rain, you make dua. It's a good time to make dua in the rain, but Allah's taking it away.
Yeah, did you guys hear what he's saying? One of the best times to make dua is when it's raining. And the simple fact that Allah takes the rain away, that there goes one of the best times to get your dua supplication answered. See how the children can understand this, and we adults have a hard time with this.
Yeah, that also reminds me of a hadith when the Prophet and some of his companions were going to pass a village, and it was raining so hard that people were actually destroyed, if I'm getting this right. And the Prophet told them, you know, these people were punished by Allah. So when it rains, we should be really, really concerned and making dua to Allah and praying to Allah and thanking Allah that it's not us, because people have suffered with that rain prior to.
Exactly. Exactly. So again, these signs are happening. Let's look at the next one. Let me put this up here so everybody can see it again. What about this one? If people should begin to cheat one another when it comes to money, understand that Allah will send drought and famine, and their rulers will oppress them. Is this happening? When the people begin to cheat one another when it comes to money, Allah will cause drought, which we just talked about. Yes, drought happens, and famine, which we just talked about, and rulers oppressing them. Yes. You can look at the political situation. Look at Syria again. Look at Iraq again. Look at Afghanistan again. These Muslim countries, yes, because of this. Again, All of these signs are happening. Yeah, we just talked about that one, you know, because people cheat one another, you know, when it comes to money and everything. So you want to know why Syria happened, why Iraq happened, why Afghanistan happened. Look at the rulers. Look at what the people were doing. Were they honoring Allah? No. And then the last one here, the prophet said, if fornication becomes widespread, understand that when this happens, there will be new diseases that the people never heard of or suffered from before. Is that happening?
Fresno, are you answering that one?
Yes, the coronavirus.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
People want to know why coronavirus is here. Why did we have AIDS? Why did we have herpes? Why do we have all these weird diseases? You know, fornication.
Mhm.
Fornication is widespread. Marriage has become a
Yes.
thing of the past. SubhanAllah. Okay, so alhamdulillah, as we can see from these this wonderful hadiths of the prophet, these signs are already in existence. And by the way, when he told the companions these things, they thought it was weird. Can you believe people would do that? Yes.
Mm.
You know, these signs are already upon us. They're already happening. So when you guys look at the political situation that's going on in the world, don't sit around blaming Israel. Don't sit around blaming America. Don't sit around hating people. Hate yourself. Because what have you done to change the condition of yourself? Allah said he will never help the people unless the people take the steps to help themselves. And you still got Muslims crying about save this and save this country, you know, and look at them. What are they doing? What are they doing to save themselves? And nothing good is going to happen until you change the condition yourself. And we got to stop blaming everybody else for ourselves. All right, so mashallah.
Sister Lena,
Yeah,
Brother Shadi has made a comment relating to the fourth sign.
I can't, I'm gonna be honest, I can't read.
Want me to read it? He
Yeah.
says the fourth sign, many people aren't following the law and not following the Sunnah. And many Americans are forcing people to leave Islam by attacking them. Oh, wait a minute. By attacking them and giving them nasty looks because Allah's laws, and then we jump down to something else. I can't see what he's saying about Allah's laws. Let me go slowly. No, he stops there. Oh, he's saying that his brother keeps running around screaming at night. We don't know what's wrong with him, and it freaks me out because I read an article, a woman seen on camera, her 2-year-old talking to a large man hunched over with him. I'm not sure what he's trying to say, if that's a question or what.
Yeah, if you guys can use the mic, try to use the mic because as you guys know, I've had problems with my eyes real bad. I can't read. That Zoom stuff is too small for me to even attempt to read.
Yeah.
Sister Sarah said, these 5 things already are happening. Fornication is widespreading everywhere. We can see more diseases are occurring. People will feel strange if you don't fornicate, and people will feel strange if you choose the way to marry lawfully and to marry early in life. Some parents make it so hard for their children to marry for charging so much money for wedding fees. So many Muslims rather fornicate than not marry. To see this sign already happening, and we as parents need to teach our generations to beware of this sin and not make it too hard for young Muslims to marry. Everyone should be aware of that and practice that what Islam teaches us. Okay, good job, Sister Sarah. Rashida said where she lives at, the mosque does what it's supposed to do. Okay. Rashida said where she lives, they get a lot of rain. Okay. Yes, but again, that's a good place that where she lives in Ireland. But as a whole, when you look all over the world, this is talking about the Muslims. We Muslims as a nation. Ireland is not even a Muslim country. So that's a sad thing to see that the non-Muslim countries are fulfilling the laws of Allah, even though they don't live by them. Okay, the Muslims in the non-Muslim countries are doing better than the Muslims in the Muslim countries. The non-Muslim countries are the ones that's trying to practice the Sunnah, whereas the Muslim countries are not. And that's really sad. And that's why all the calamities is happening over there in the East. It's happening in the Muslim countries. It's not happening in Ireland. Ireland is not under siege. America is not under siege. Australia is not under siege, but it's the Muslim countries that are under siege because they're the ones that are supposed to rule by the Quran. They're supposed to live the Sunnah, and they're not. It ain't no mystery to me as to why it's happening in those countries. So again, we have to be very careful hating and blaming other people for the wrongs that we are doing. Does everybody understand that? Any more comments on this? I think you guys that Sister Anissa and myself and Brother Abdul, I think you guys did a very good job on this hadith. Any other comments before we close it out? Okay, so and with that said, we can definitely see that all these signs are in existence. And again, the prophet went over the signs of the last hour, not to scare us, but to wake us up. He told the companions, I want you guys to understand the last hour will come to each and every one of us when the angel of death pulls our soul. The question is, are you ready to go? And will you go in good standing? Are you one of the causes, or are you part of the solution? And that's the question we need to ask ourselves. What have you done to prepare for the last hour? You see the signs. You know what Allah has said would happen and why. So what changes are you making to try to change for the better? On that note, we'll stop right here. And again, this class is held every Monday and Wednesday. Okay, and this is the format that we use for this class. And also, I want to remind everybody that's listening, we have a new class that will be starting up tomorrow. This will be how to pray. A lot of you are asking me what is the correct way to perform the prayers. My brother Isa will be teaching that class. It'll be live every Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That'll give everybody enough time to get home from work and get the kids in bed, and the children can participate in this class too. It'll be learn how to pray as the prophet did. He's going to teach you everything about how to make salat the correct way, beginning with the wudu all the way through. What to say in the positions, how to stand. So a lot of you are asking how to pray. Have your children participate. This will be starting tomorrow, Tuesdays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in our Zoom room. And it'd be Brother Isa, my brother Isa teaching that. Okay? And also don't forget the other classes we have today. We have my Tawheed class at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We also have the life of the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, today at 8 p.m. And we have the Minhaj of the Muslim with Dr. Ibrahim Jamali at 9. So a lot of classes today. The schedule is posted. Please participate in our classes, guys. All right. Okay. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta